'cause you got that like you, 'cause you got that something that I need in my life, so give it to me.
Hello fellow kids, I am Miguel Montoya and today we review the game console R36S. Game console R36S is very good. Being completely honest, this console is so good that it did not require the usual community-driven fixes and improvements.
I'm a tech YouTuber and I'm here to show you things you can't afford. This is the Hand by Boston Dynamics. You can replace your own limbs with technology because technology is strong and the flesh is weak. It's got Bluetooth 5.2 and a Snapdragon 480 Plus.
Ironically, this was so good that there wasn't much to talk about. In fact, this might be one of the best default stock OS consoles I have ever had the pleasure to play. But not quite, because it ships with custom firmware, the Arc OS, Portmaster and so much more on an inexpensive vertical form factor. You will not be able to resist.
After lengthy computations, I, Femputer, have decided the fate of the men. Femputer sentences them to death! By Snoo-Snoo!
Yeah! What are you, gay?
But the key word here is price for performance. It is an old chipset, but it gets the job done. It has excellent performance and ArcOS custom firmware is a very mature and optimized system to this point. The game console R36S is kind of a clone, but not quite. It took heavy inspiration from RGB20S from Pokidi and Ambernic 353V and 353VS, but in the end it doesn't even matter, since it won against the RGB20S in price, ergonomics, system and performance. And in spite of being less powerful than the Ambernic 353V and 353VS, it costs more or less a third of the price. It is a chipset question against the 353 series, RK3326 versus RK3566. And even with better quality, Ambernic cannot justify that Among Us price gap. My Black Friday price was around 35 euros, with coupons and such. The cheapest price I've ever saw was 33 euros, but it will average between 42 to 45 euros with free delivery. Unbeatable price for the hardware. If you search enough or wait for a holiday, you will always have a good business on AliExpress. Fuck right? The firmware version is from 2022, but we can update it. It also brings the Portmaster, which gives us the possibility of playing different computer ports. It was only able to play PC ports by installing the full updated version of Portmaster. R36S emulates everything perfectly until PlayStation 1 and a good chunk of PSP, N64 and Dreamcast library. These three consoles will have some limitations on heavier games, But if you are a master nerd, you can always stretch for a little bit more performance. Knowing it will never run properly God of War or Cruising USA. We have to keep the expectations realistic. You see, you are not dealing with the average console anymore. You are in the presence of Super Game Console R36S. This console kind of destroyed the Chinese handheld market, in a good way, making every console manufacturer drop their prices. The game console R36S can easily be a plug-and-play experience, despite the ArcOS version being old. It was the version I used in the early days, and it still performs very well. And to be honest, at naked eye you can't see many differences. The important difference are that when you update the port master, the port will start working, and with newer ArcOS versions, you will have better optimization and ease of use. The game console R36S is good and cheap, but it's not perfect. And now for the cave cats. It doesn't have Wi-Fi, so we can't update the console over the air. It doesn't have Bluetooth, so we can't connect a controller. And it doesn't do HDMI. All the updates I made were on the computer with the cards. Alternatively, you can plug in a Wi-Fi dongle and update. There are also reports that we can connect the cell phone via USB and use the phone mobile data. I didn't go crazy on testing this stuff yet, since I manipulated all files on the computer. For the price it costs, we can hardly call this cons. The screen is amazing. It is a 3.5 inches OCA laminated. The aspect of the screen is 4x3 with 640 by 480 pixels, and it has a 2.5D glass. It is indeed very beautiful, with vibrant colors. I've been using the screen mostly at 20% brightness, and it's perfectly fine. For darker games I've been using 40% brightness, games like Nightmare Creatures, Resident Evil Survivor, and so on. The game console R36S system traditionally uses two cards, number 1 for operating system and number 2 for games. To add and remove games, just insert the card number 2 into your Android or computer, and there will be folders for each console. In the SNES folder, put the Super Nintendo ROMs. In the PSP folder, put the PSP games, and so on. It is a very friendly procedure. By opening the different folders, you can also see the compatible extensions, and whether or not we can use zipped files. In the case of PlayStation, CHD works, BinQ works, eboot.ppp also works. If the system tells you if you use a BIOS you can improve your performance in this emulator, just place a BIOS in the BIOS folder on card 2, and a copy of that same BIOS in the ROM folder of the respective console. The system will pick BIOS either from one folder or the other. This only happened to me with PlayStation 1, and I used the BIOS SCPH-1001, and it never happened again. If you exchange a card 2 for a new, larger, or better quality one, please note that it is not automatically recognized by the system. With the old card inserted, go into Options, select Advanced, change to SD1 for ROMs, then insert the new card 2. Turn on, go to Options, select Advanced, go down and change SD card 2 for ROMs. This will kind of link the cards. In my opinion, the two card setup is trolling, cause if the SD card 2 dies, both cards become useless. More on my setup on next videos. Only one card is my jam.
Clue about what's going on here, please.
Best I can do is a blank stare. Take it or leave it. Oh, this is my jam!
Although the sound is mono, on the game console R36S it is good quality. The YXBA and the D-pad use rubber membranes. The R and L buttons have micro switches, and the analog sticks are smaller but they work okay. The membranes were very stiff in the first few hours, but with use they got much better. There is a mod for the D-pad and the buttons. In case you need it, I will bring it in future videos. The switches work well, but they make a lot of noise, meaning playing in a hospital or in the bathroom can be strange, especially if you're playing in the shower. But I heard they are good to ward against sleep paralysis demons. The console is much smaller in person than the idea conveyed on YouTube or in photos. Therefore, for more hardcore games, Kaisos, Souls-like, the R36S may not be the most seamless experience. For instance, if you plan to play Salt and Sanctuary, might be better putting your chips on a console in a horizontal form factor instead of vertical. However, it's an excellent buy and play experience. Stock experience, I will give it a 7 out of 10. Modded and updated, I will give it a 9 out of 10. The game console R36S with the updated ArcOS and the Portmaster, and without the 5000 repeated games, it is an invaluable experience for me. Portmaster working properly is very important for me. I love games like Axiom Verge, Shovel Knight, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Shredder's Revenge, and so on. It's a priceless experience. Since I'm a future snob, if you want to be a future snob, it will require these small improvements. If you don't care about computer games and just want to play retro games, these behaviors are not needed. If you want, watch this 4 minutes gameplay I did in several systems. Hope you enjoy. Olá novamente, espero que tenham gostado do vídeo. Se sim, deixem um like e subscrevam. Se não tiverem gostado, subscrevam só. Pedidos, sugestões ou perguntas podem deixar nos comentários. Até à próxima e um abraço da Névoa Negra!